is the topic of today's episode. Hello and welcome to Wool Shift Dust Podcast's deep dive into Silo Season 3, Episode 4. I'm Elysia, your surprise hiding in the digger void.
And I'm Luke, your service buddy bandmate who now has Pentagon access. If anybody from the School of International Relations at St Andrews is listening, I do not, in fact, have Pentagon access.
It's lies. I wrote lies and made you say them.
Exactly. Elysia wrote that. One day I will have Pentagon access, but not yet.
So this is our weekly Silo season coverage, continuing with Season 3, Episode 4. Whatever you do, don't go home. Where surprising alliances are revealed, and we finally get to talk about a leak we've been sitting on all season.
Oh, the relief.
Now you know how it feels. Before we begin, Luke, though, what is the full version of our spoiler policy for this pod?
So the discussion will be spoiler-free beyond what's already happened on screen. So that means there'll be full spoilers for Seasons 1, 2, and everything up to Episode 4 of Season 3 of Silo. Elysia has read the books, but I'm keeping it show only. Elysia can bring up anything from the books that has already happened on screen, but to protect my and your spoiler innocence, there'll be no future book spoilers. We won't discuss anything from the trailers or other marketing material. If you want a discussion of the trailers, we did do a couple of episodes breaking them down before the season started.
And of course, this still leaves me as the book reader plenty of room for speculation. Lots of book changes going on. So I promise if I'm speculating, it's genuine. If I can't discuss something, I just simply won't. But if you do want the full spoiler discussions and deep dives into the intricacies of the book version of the story and how it's interacting with the television version, then there is a separate book club podcast where fellow reader Abby and I talk about all of these things. Stick around until the end of the episode to learn more about that. Now, before we get into the episode itself, we do have an important piece of business to discuss, and that is, of course, Silo Noir casting. We've had a couple more pieces of feedback about potential casting for the 40s, 50s noir version of Silo. And Pandemonium suggested I'd cast Ingrid Bergman as Juliette, keeping the Swedish theme.
I like that. Or Tippi Hedren would also work for that as well.
Okay. My thought that I had is Hedy Lamarr as Anna. And I have to say this is in honor especially of the fact that Anna was... she was a radio technician in the books, not so in the show.
Okay.
But I still think Hedy Lamarr, regardless, would be a good casting. That's my thought.
Actually, do you just want to explain why that works for Hedy Lamarr?
Well, because she invented the wireless radio? What did you might know?
I don't know the technical details. She invented basically a new radar system, sonar system that made it much easier to find and detect U-boats. I don't know the technical ins and outs of it, but yeah, that's what she invented.
Yeah. So, and she's obviously a famous actress from that era. For anyone who happens to not know the name. And Paul Kay said, all-star 50s noir, Silo Noir cast, Brando as Knox.
Yeah.
Marilyn Monroe is Juliette with her natural hair, so darker.
Yeah.
Maybe. I still like my Katharine Hepburn as Juliette personally, but James Stewart as Daniel, we all agreed that's got to be, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Ustinov as Thurman.
Oh, Peter Ustinov. Yes, I can see that.
Okay. Omar Sharif as Lucas. My problem with Omar Sharif is I can't picture him young enough.
Yeah, no, Omar Sharif by the 50s is too old to be playing Lucas.
Yeah. And Hepburn as Helen. I know I still like Hepburn as Juliette. Maybe Marilyn Monroe as Helen? I don't know.
No.
I don't know. I love Marilyn Monroe. She is one of my favorite actresses from the era, and I think she has a lot more depth than probably most people realize.
Grace Kelly as Helen?
Yeah, I can absolutely see that for sure.
Yeah.
That would be a good one. All right. If anyone else has any more urgent Silo Noir fan castings, we are ready and waiting for your suggestions. But for now, let's get into season 3, episode 4. Whatever you do, don't go home. 48 minutes long again, released Friday, July 24th, 2026 on Apple TV. This one was directed by Eric Avellino. He was the writer of last week's episode and also wrote season 1, episode 6 in the season 2 finale, and also directed season 2, episodes 3 and 4, and will direct not only this episode, but the next episode and episode 7 of this season as well. So Eric Avellino all over the place on this show. The writer this week is credited as Jessica Blair, who also was credited co-writer of season 1, episode 2, and also wrote season 1, episode 7, and season 2, episode 9. So honestly, those are 3 of the best episodes of the series, I think.
And actually, they do kind of all have a theme with this episode, which is they're all high energy episodes.
Okay, you think this is a high energy episode?
Yeah,
I guess a lot happens. Yeah,
a lot happens. There's a lot of chasing. It's a very kinetic, sort of, particularly in Silo 18. It's very sort of there's a lot going on.
I guess I was thinking, the through line is this is sort of noir investigation aspect.
That too, yeah.
All of this, of course, is based on the Silo book series by Hugh Howey. And the plot of this episode, thank you, IMDb, for saving me time on this one. Camille's escape. What?
No, that's the wrong way around. Juliette. Yeah.
I literally copy-pasted it from IMDb. Juliette's escape leads Camille to a shocking discovery. Daniel seeks help from a friend. Luke, what did you think of this episode overall?
I've already sort of given the game away. That it was really high energy. It was very edge of the seat. I genuinely there was one point where I genuinely thought Juliette was in proper mortal danger. And given that Rebecca Ferguson is the biggest star and the executive producer, it's quite impressive that the show was able to make me feel that, because she's got the thickest plot armor imaginable. I like Daniel a lot more after this episode.
Yay!
I like Helen a little less after this episode. Quick question, Elysia. Friend comes over to your house. Shoes on, shoes off.
I mean, I always grew up in a shoes on household, but I have to say, here in the Netherlands, it's like half. Like some people are really shoes off, some people are really shoes on. I think it was more like my friends from who originated in Asia who taught me shoes off. And then I realized now that I clean my own house, I'm like, wow, that's actually really helpful. So I don't make people take their shoes off, but it is kind of appreciated, to be honest.
I think if you are going to make people take their shoes off, you need to provide inside shoes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair. Which I don't have to give out, to be honest. But if people have come over, I've usually just vacuumed and mopped or something.
Fair enough.
But yeah, you're going to want to have like socks on or something.
Yeah.
Your tootsies might get cold. So I have to admit that I was holding on to false hopes when it came to Orla. I went ahead and checked her pulse, and it's not looking good, Doctor.
I believe in your powers of resurrection. Orla Kent will rise again on the 3rd day.
I don't know. That rebar to the back of the head looks pretty decisive.
Yeah, they were really leading us on with that, weren't they?
Well, it's just, I think it's amazing that they introduced this character for a single episode and I'm not the only one who felt this way, because we've heard from others in our feedback episode and such, and on Discord saying the same, that, I got attached to her after a single episode. And now I'm like, I'm going to get the bastard who did this.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure his name is Mike, but now I'm also like, it looks too obvious, so maybe not.
Yeah, you're having the experience I had with Holston and Allison, basically.
But okay, let's talk about Luke. What is the thing that we have been sitting on for all season so far?
Okay, firstly, I need to apologize to Elysia, because I have made the editing of this show harder than it needed to be, because I have I've let the cat out of the bag at least twice. So Elysia sent me a YouTube clip of an interview with.
And in my defense, you had watched the first episode of the season. I had not yet watched it. This was obviously way back before.
Yeah.
And I assumed this was from the first episode. But sorry,
Well,
go ahead.
I mean, in fairness, it was an interview with Tim Robbins and Rebecca Ferguson. So
Right.
the interview itself was letting the cat out of the bag, kind of. But yeah, Bernie's alive.
Yeah. So basically, this news outlet, and I won't say which one, I don't even remember off the top of my head, to be honest. I think they jumped the gun and they probably meant to upload some other video that was, for preseason or something like that. But they accidentally uploaded this interview that obviously should not be going out until after this episode came out.
Yeah, so yeah, I am sorry, Elysia, for nearly letting the cat out of the bag on several occasions.
I'm sorry for spoiling that in the first place. So we've been sitting on, Abby and I did address it in the book club discussion, but we've been sitting here on the news that we knew everything that Sims was saying about Bernard dying was bullshit. But we couldn't speculate on it openly.
Well, now we can.
Yeah, now we can, finally. So how are you feeling about Juliette and Shirley's relationship after this episode?
Yeah, they are like you put in the notes. They are on the same page. They kind of don't know each other, but they do. Well, Shirley knows Juliette, and Juliette kind of knows Shirley, but kind of doesn't.
She knows her in her gut, and that's the important thing. Yeah, and she knows her in her gut, and she has some unrelated memories. Oh yeah, she's the one who gave me the cookie tin with the note in it. She knows enough that she can really trust her, even if she doesn't remember whatever late night conversations they had as teenagers or whatever at this point.
Yeah.
Were you surprised that Kennedy? We were waiting for Lucas to tell Kennedy some truths, and then he tells Kennedy some truths, and Kennedy's like, oh shit. But then it's not because his mind is blown, it's because he's like, they got to you.
Well, yeah, I did think, obviously Patrick Kennedy doesn't believe him, but I do think the other outsiders were at least willing to hear him out. And I think to be fair to Patrick Kennedy, he didn't completely dismiss Lucas or say you're on your own. He went along with the whole let's find Juliette plan. So
well, yeah, but I'll say there's two. We'll talk about this obviously more, but there's two reasons he did that. A, Kathleen, who was a Lucas believer she was a Lucas truther. She's like, I don't think he's dead. I think we should let Juliette look for him because she might find him. And now she's like, and I am inclined to believe the stuff he's saying now. But then I think the thing is, Lucas told them Juliette recognized me when she saw me. And that's when Patrick was like, interesting. Yeah, this whole thing has me extra excited to watch episode 5. It feels like a lot of it is really set up and pointing toward a bunch of we're left with a few dangling mysteries that are obviously going to be the driving force of episode 5, I assume.
I would hope so. Although I am starting to get a little concerned we haven't seen a Dicky Bird from Silo 17 yet, and we're almost halfway through the series.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, should I say what the title is of the next episode? Is that okay?
Yeah, fine by me.
Skip forward once if you don't want to hear it. It's Memory. So I'm hoping that means that everything comes flooding back.
Okay.
And she's like, oh, wait a minute. What about Solo?
Oh, yeah, I just want to know if Solo and the kids are okay.
Yeah. Me too. Any other fresh takes at the top?
Nope. Let's get into the plot by plot.
All right. Let's do it.
Your regularly scheduled breakdown will begin in 3, 2, 1.
All right, as usual, we're going to be going plot by plot rather than scene by scene. Today, focusing first on the before times, the Daniel part of the timeline, before moving on to what's going on in Silo 17 and Juliette's era. And let's start with the before times. No phone calls. Exiting hacker Steve's hideout in Baltimore after finding him abducted, Helen, Jessica Henwick, smashes Daniel, Ashley Zuckerman's phone and tells him to make himself scarce, invoking the title of the episode, Whatever You Do, Don't Go Home. She writes an address on his hand and tells him to meet her there at 10 p.m. The address turns out to be the swanky apartment of an award-winning photojournalist ex of Helen's. There, the pair compare notes on what they know as they trade food-based banter. Helen says she thinks going to the police would be useless given the level of people they seem to be up against. Their only lead is that Hacker Steve told them the encrypted comms from Charlotte's mission were recorded by someone in Moldova. They both recall something weird about the chess game Steve was playing during their visit. And their new plan is to try to trace the player names to find another copy of the recording to leak to the public. The next morning, Daniel brings donuts back to the apartment and informs Helen he's made a phone call. They have an appointment at the Pentagon in an hour. So thoughts on this sequence?
Yeah, I think obviously Daniel and Helen's relationship is sort of flowering, is progressing. They definitely have chemistry. I am going to go out on a limb and say they may not be a couple by the end of the show, but I think they will have hooked up by the end of the show. Bow
Okay.
chicka wow wow. I want to be a photojournalist because that is a nice apartment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he looked like, I'm making an assumption about him being a photojournalist, and it seems like Daniel made the assumption too. She said, so his name's Palmer. She said he's on assignment in South Sudan and was supposed to be gone another week after that. And Helen was continuing to hide out there. And so he has that photo of Helen, obviously, which is a weird thing for your ex.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's weird, right? That would be odd if you were in a relationship. If you were not in a relationship, that is just creepy as hell.
I mean, if you're in a relationship, it makes sense. And you're a photojournalist, you might have a portrait of your significant other, but it is an interesting thing to keep up on the wall. But he also has, for example, he's got this serious gun on display and this Marlboro Man style photo. I'm like, am I sure he's a photojournalist, or did Daniel and I just assume that because he takes photographs apparently and puts them on his wall?
Okay, I have to ask as the dumb non-American, because I see this in lots of American shows. I'm assuming a bodega is like a corner shop.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's, I guess I've spent a lot less time I do have family in DC, but I've spent a lot less time there than in New York. But normally the word bodega you associate with New York.
Okay.
It just reminds me of Half Baked. Say it with me, bodega. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, we'll come back to the bodega, but about Palmer, not only does he have a photo of Helen prominently on his wall, but Helen helped him pick out the furniture. Okay, I guess that means they had a certain level of seriousness, or he respects her taste.
Yeah.
And he left her with a key for her use. I used to have a key to an ex's house I was friends with for, security reasons, but in general.
Well, I mean, if he's often on assignment overseas, it might make sense to sort of have somebody to sublet it to Helen rather than a stranger.
Yeah, I don't know that she's paying him for it. I think he's.
No, I don't think she is, but I'm just trying to work out a scenario where it would make a bit more sense.
I feel
somebody's got to go in and collect the mail every so often.
Yeah, sure. There's that. I feel like though whoever this Palmer is not over Helen, and maybe.
Well, no, she's got the massive photo. It's a very nice photo, by the way. Mm-hmm. I wonder if that's like one of Jessica Henwick's,
headshots.
Headshots, yeah.
Yeah, could be. But I do love the chemistry that's picking up between Daniel and Helen. I had to laugh out loud when it starts out. Daniel comes out of Hacker Steve's place and he starts dialing his phone. And I think Helen and I said at the same time, "What are you doing?" He's like, "We have to call someone." And she smacks it down and smashes it. That's such a good character moment to, in support of what I've been saying, that Daniel's perhaps just a little too earnest for his own good at times, maybe. And so no Charlotte this week, because we also hear that, Charlotte, Helen rightfully points out that they're probably monitoring calls to Charlotte. So if they're looking for them, that's obviously a place that they will look. I don't know. What do you think, Daniel? Daniel says he walked around for 2 hours while he waited to get to that apartment. I guess we should just take him at face value.
Until we hear something else, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess that makes sense. What else is he going to do?
Yeah.
But we hear that Helen, in the meantime, snuck back into her old office to do research. So they took her laptop, but forgot to take her key card. I'm surprised about that. And I'm also wondering.
I don't know. I'm thinking Helen might have cloned the key card.
Oh, that's possible too. Although, what about cameras at the office? I guess if they don't know to look for her, they wouldn't see it. But if they did look for her,
they would find it.
Yeah. And then they'd be able to see what she was looking up too on the computer.
Yeah.
We get confirmation that Hacker Steve is maybe not the best at personal security because his real name actually is Stephen Price.
Yeah, so maybe not the Uber hacker we thought he was.
That he thinks he is.
Yeah.
And that Helen found his cell number, got a recording that the phone was not in use. And she also tried to call James Almeida, the father of Charlotte's squadron leader, Juan, who we met last week at we met James at the funeral. Obviously, Juan was the subject of the funeral. But James, his phone's also not working, although Daniel used it to contact him 2 days ago. So we'll obviously get back to that when we talk about them meeting another character. But yeah, interesting. I have to call out the Saab slander, okay? I used to drive 2 Saabs from the 90s, and those were good cars. Like afterwards, at some point, they started to turn into what we called Subarus, where they just use like a different cheaper body model and stuff like that. But before that, when they were fully Swedish cars, they were some of the safest cars on the road. And I myself had once a head-on collision because someone pulled out of a parking lot when there was a bush blocking their way and they'd been drinking a little bit of dinner. And I walked away with nothing but airbag burns. Thank you, 30-year-old Saab.
Yeah, 30-year-old Saabs, they get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Helen, you keep driving that car.
Yeah.
Although we see it now in a minivan. I also felt a little called out by the 2-year-old Pickles comment. Like, I don't think I have 2-year-old Pickles, but I definitely have kept Pickles a lot longer than I probably should have, I now realize. And I actually went looking up, do pickles not last as long as I think? And no, they are designed to last longer because they are in brine. They are sealed with the lid, and you keep them in a fridge, obviously. So they last well past their sell-by date. Maybe not 2 years.
Okay. I just want you to know, Elysia, I'm judging the heck out of you right now.
I mean, I'm judging everyone with their food waste, where people get obsessed with the sell-by dates, and instead of just using, like when I was looking up, do pickles last as long as I think they do? And they were like, well, you'll be able to tell right away when it's gone bad. I was like, that's what I thought.
Yeah, but I am saying if they've been in there for 2 years, they will have gone bad.
Yeah. Well, that is the question. Like, so apparently Palmer is gone for another week, but why does he have only 2-year-old pickles in his fridge? Has he been eating the 2-year-old pickles, or has he been gone longer than it seems?
And also, Helen, if you do have like access privileges to his apartment, the protocol there is definitely that you should fill his fridge before he comes home.
If you're actually staying there, then, well, at least clean up after yourself.
Yeah.
Or don't, like, she's like, yeah, help yourself to whatever. And I'm like, well, I don't know if that's like, unless you're going to replace it. I was like, I saw wine bottles out there. Like, that's, yeah.
Yeah. And also, that flat is huge.
Yeah, it was a really nice apartment.
Really nice flat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm jealous. Really nicely decorated, too.
Yeah.
Definitely my kind of taste, actually. Except the gun on the wall. I do not have any guns on my wall, I'll say. But I understand. It was a badass looking gun. And he had it like pulled apart in pieces.
Yes.
But it just, yeah, the whole thing, like he's in South Sudan. It makes it sound like he's there on like, you know, a photojournalism mission. But I don't know. She
One of the
didn't
most
say.
dangerous places in the world.
Yeah, and sure, you might want to take photos there, but I wonder if there's more to it, to be honest.
Yeah.
And another thing that they are wondering if there's more to, actually, we wondered it last week and they wondered it on the show for us this week, is that chess game. They noticed that when Steve got a message about making a move in the chess game, he got like really into it in a way that they're like, that was noteworthy. And it was noteworthy enough. They looked at his board and they each noticed something important. Daniel, who apparently is a chess player, I'm wondering if that will turn up. He says he's a couple moves away from mate and just exposed his king. Are you a chess player at all?
No, not really. I mean, I know how to play it, but only sort of. I'm not really a chess player. Because, the whole thing about chess being what's the word? Being synonymous with war, not really, no. No, it isn't. It's a strategy game, but no, it isn't.
But they didn't say that.
No, but it's just people ask me that a lot with what I do.
Okay.
With what I do is, do you play a lot of chess? It's like, no, because it's not really an analog to what I study. People just think that it is.
Okay. No, when I think of chess, I think most of my father. He's really into chess and Go, and actually like teaches chess and Go to like on the reservation in Oklahoma.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but so you would think I might be good at it, but I used to, obviously I know all the rules, as you said, and when I was young, I used to, like to mess around with it on the computer and stuff. But then I don't know, I just went down different rabbit holes of interest.
Yeah, I was in the chess club at school, but that's about the beginning and end of it.
Okay, well, that's further than I got. I just played at home sometimes. Yeah. So I'm not like an expert at that either. But if anyone, I mean, I understand a couple moves away from mate and he just exposed his king. That's clearly just not a logical thing to do. And presumably this is not this guy's first chess game. So I get that. It seems to be that they were communicating through the game. And Helen brings up Edward Snowden. When he leaked the NSA documents in 2013, they included information that government agents were using World of Warcraft to try to infiltrate terrorist organizations who they hypothesized might be using online games to communicate. Do you know any? First of all, I just want to call out the 2013. Again, we're getting this mid 2010s timestamp.
Yeah. So we thought it was like the near future, but actually it's probably the near past.
Yeah. I mean, well, if we just think about Juan, if he was a child when you and I were children, and you and I are in our early mid 30s, 40s now.
42 in my case.
Okay. And he looked like, I mean, we don't know his name, but his age, but he looked like 30s. So I don't know.
Yeah, late 20s, early 30s.
It's feeling, like, and the stuff with the journalism and everything we talked about, it's feeling like it's like the late 2010s or something like that.
The thing with World of Warcraft, I believe that's true, but I'd have to go away and check, but I believe that's true.
Daniel speculates, what is he trying to say? The king has fallen? If that were the case, who would be the king? I don't even know as a book reader.
Yeah, no idea. To be honest, I don't think that. I think Daniel's probably barking up the wrong tree there, to be honest.
Maybe. He's trying. He's
trying, yeah.
He's putting on his journalism brain. And they noted, so I think I might have gotten the name switched last time because they're saying here, I think that Steve's username is Bigfoot Lives. And the other one I said last week was like X-File something.
Yeah.
So Helen has a good visual memory because she clocked that right away. I guess she was curious of like, why did you react like that to that chess game while you're in the middle of something?
Yeah.
We also learn Helen Drew does not like to be called Nancy Drew. I think you made that connection before, right?
Yeah. But the way she went, I will kill you. I will kill you in your sleep.
And the way he gives her this like eye twinkle smirk that's adorable. And now I'm like, now kiss.
Very, very Kennedy-esque. Ashley Zuckerman is playing Daniel as very Kennedy-esque.
Sure, I can see that. Yeah. And then also the next morning when he comes back with the donuts and she thought he ran and he's like, so you missed me. But she admonishes him for going out for food when there are black ops assholes after them. And but Daniel, he went around the corner to use the bodega's phone and had to make a purchase to use it. And that's where he called his friend.
Do they still have payphones in the States?
Now?
Yeah.
I mean, this is another question about the dating, but he said it was at the bodega. So it was.
Oh, is he using the owner's phone?
That's why he had to buy something. Yeah.
Okay. Right. I get it now.
But yeah, as far we haven't seen any payphones in this show, but that would also date it a bit. Payphones stuck around longer than people realize, but they just got less and less and people didn't use them. And then they just were gone one day, it seems. Any thoughts about this opening sequence between Helen and Daniel?
No, I think I've given all my thoughts, but yeah, they definitely have. They definitely have chemistry. They are gonna get down at some point.
All right. Well, let's take a quick pause here. When we come back, we will talk about them getting down to the Pentagon. Be right back. All right, so Daniel has a friend with access, and the meeting he set up is with Sam Ramsey, played by Elijah Cook, an old friend and bandmate of Daniel's from his time serving overseas. Daniel had told Sam the meeting was about something to do with cybersecurity, and now he fills him in on what they're actually looking for, Hacker Steve's chess match mate. And his motive is helping his sister Charlotte, who returned from the Iran operation with a TBI and memory loss. Helen jumps in to cite Charlotte's concerns about the mission going in and the unencrypted comms recording they tracked down through Hacker Steve, and that Steve and the recording then went missing. Sam's not thrilled that the pair have shown up at his place of work, the courtyard of the mother flippin' Pentagon, to drag him into whatever mess this is. He says he's open to jam sometime with his old friend, but he has to stay out of this. So obviously we'll pick up with him later, but does this mean, do we have our answer about Daniel's musical taste? That
I hope not. I hope he's not a Kenny G fan, or he's going to go way down in my estimation.
Well, okay, he was being called Kenny G because he plays a saxophone.
Plays a sax, yeah.
And he calls his friend Sam the Ram. I'm like, oh, that's some real American bro shit. But their band name was the Lost Boys, and they played 80s covers like Don't You Want Me, and She's a Rich Girl. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, so we've got an answer about Danny. And again, this is all pointing towards it being more sort of 2010s because, I
mean, you can still play 80s covers today.
I guess, but of somebody of Daniel's age? Yeah, maybe, but not likely.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you'd be nostalgic for
90s.
Yeah, well, how old do we think Daniel is, though?
I'd say he's like 40 to 45.
Yeah, that's what I would think too. Yeah, but then that would make it like, so if you and I are both between 40 and 45, that would make it like now-ish? I don't know.
Maybe I'm overthinking
We're throwing
this.
darts at a board here.
Yeah.
We'll see. It is definitely a different timeline from the books, that's for sure. I also thought it was funny that Daniel introduces Helen as his assistant at first, and that lasts about 10 seconds because Helen does not like to pretend to be anyone other than she is. She's like, yeah, sure, that's cute. Anyway, I have journalism questions. But how much do you trust Sam at this point?
Well, we'll talk about it, but he does come round in the end, so I don't know whether Sam is going to be a recurring character or not, to be honest. But I mean, what Daniel and Helen were doing was like wildly unreasonable from his point of view, so I don't blame him for having the initial reaction that he did.
Yeah, no, I mean, he seems worried, and he does like, as soon as they say about the recording, he's immediately like, "What did you hear?
Well,
You shouldn't be able to hear anything encryption." And he's like, What did you hear?" Airplanes were no longer controlled by their pilots. But like, that's a reaction you could have because you're like, "Oh God, what do you know?" Or a reaction you have because you're like, "What? That shouldn't be possible. I'm curious."
um, yeah. I mean, I just think I just took it as you're here, you're asking me for this favor, and like you say, you're doing it in the middle of the mother flipping Pentagon. Like,
Yeah.
what did you want? What do you want me to do? Like, I am not about to throw away my entire career and end up in jail for you just because we played in a band.
Right. Yeah. He says, "I signed so many secrecy documents you wouldn't believe." And he's like, "Well, actually, you would because you did too." And that he has to take a lie detector test every 6 months, which sounds like that could genuinely be a thing, to be honest.
There is an interesting thing going on at the moment with that.
Hmm.
Because I've read some accounts of people working in the Office of National Intelligence and the CIA, and they are regularly polygraphed, and they also have meetings with their internal human resources quite regularly, and they are like encouraged to speak very candidly about their lives in
Hmm.
order that they are not blackmailed. And there are accounts, there are strong rumors that the Trump administration is using the content of those meetings to target queer and trans employees in the intelligence agencies and then firing them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a very real possibility that an entire system based on trust and openness, and the idea that if you tell us things, we won't judge you for them. We just want you to tell us because then the Russians and the Chinese can't use it to blackmail you
Yeah.
because work already knows, might be breaking down.
I mean, and it shouldn't have to be like, there are things that, okay, tell us things about yourself and we won't judge you for it. Like that time you were arrested for shoplifting as a teenager,
Yeah,
like that's,
exactly.
whereas like that's a thing where I can understand, that's a thing people might judge you for, but
Yeah.
whatever. Um, but just the fact of being queer or trans, that should just be like you shouldn't have to feel bad about having blonde hair, or about, I don't know, having big feet or whatever. Like, these are just facts of life.
That's true, but like it can still be used for the purposes of blackmail in some circumstances.
No, and this is exactly why, this is exactly how trust in governments are undermined. Because, for instance, things like census data, it is so important for science and for governance that accurate census data is taken. And of course, there's a problem where, maybe certain governments don't want to pay for that. And that's its own problem. But then to add on that, the fear. And
Yeah.
obviously, there's been reasons throughout history to have this fear of sharing that information because of things like this. I just get so frustrated with the way humanity is constantly shooting itself in the foot.
Yeah.
For
and
this
you end up with
stupid selfishness of just,
and you end up with a less effective intelligence community as well.
Yeah. Just everybody's worse off. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, speaking of intelligence, we learn one more thing about Sam, which is he mentions he has a sister who's an insurance agent and that he has a wife and kids, which was an interesting thing for me to read as a book reader, because I'll say up front that there is a character from this part of the timeline in the books that has not shown up on screen yet. Abby and I have been speculating about it a lot. Like, where is this character? We've already assumed, okay, they're going to change his name or something like that. And so this character kind of fits this having this background friendship with Daniel plus having access does fit some things about this character, but then him having a wife and kids definitely does not fit some things about this character. So the topic of this week's book club, the special deep dive topic, is going to be about that version of the book character, and now 3 potential characters they may be dividing his story between in the book, including Sam. We'll see.
You know when Sam said I have a wife and kids, did that feel to you a little bit like, and he was 2 weeks away from retirement?
Oh no! someone I forget who it was. Sorry, but someone was saying in the chat was I think said first he's very hot, and then I hope nothing happens to him.
Yeah, no, it's just when he said I got a wife and kids, that felt very much and like he was 2 weeks away from retirement.
No, that's like when Orla said, "I'll tell you when I get back."
Exactly.
Oh, I hope nothing happens to Sam. Okay. Well, but let's switch to after Sam walks away. He's like, I don't know what you're doing here. I gotta go. And after Sam walks away, Daniel looks up and sees Henry read Bernie, the same man he saw with the captain of the Nimitz at Juan's funeral. And Helen recognizes him as well as the mysterious man in the Zaw's office when she was fired. Little do they both know he's been following Charlotte too. But now he finally walks right up to speak to them directly. He invites them for a coffee where he tells them that hacker Steve is fine. He's just been given a highly coveted position at a cybersecurity think tank. And James Alameda, he says, received a very generous loan to bail out his brother's woodworking shop. Henry tells Daniel and Helen that they are endangering something very important. He dangles a job at the Times in front of unemployed journalist Helen's face. And for Donald, he threatens him with withdrawing financial coverage of his sister Charlotte's ongoing treatment. After the meeting, Helen emphasizes that they have nothing to go public with, and they know they will be blocked from obtaining any such evidence by the powerful forces lined up against them. She seems to want to take Henry's deal. So, what do you think about this exchange?
Well, just know, Elysia, if I ever get a huge research grant with no strings attached, it probably means that aliens exist. Because I'm taking the money.
Okay. So, so you're saying you'll take the deal?
I'll take the deal. I WhatsApped you after watching this episode. Henry, we will kidnap you, but we'll do it nicely.
I mean, okay, so here's the thing. Well, first of all, it's interesting that Henry offers Helen a carrot and Daniel the stick. So, you were saying that your estimation of Daniel has gone up and Helen has gone down. And I think that's interesting that Henry looked at them both and said, Daniel will not take an incentive unless it's a threat to someone close to him.
Yeah, like that Helen will respond to the carrot and Daniel will respond to the stick.
Yeah. Although, yeah, she's like, of course I want a job at the Times, you sanctimonious fuck. And she says, but I also want Charlotte to get the care she needs. I mean, she's your sister, but she's also my source. And here's my question about this. Okay, so that comes across as a little bit selfish, but she's also my source. But then it's like, do you think, Helen, that the Times is going to let you continue this investigation that got you in trouble in the first place?
Yeah, no, that's not happening. And like, just because the Times might be inclined to take you back, like, I think you will be doing like human interest stories and like local New York politics.
Mm-hmm.
They are not going to let you near anything like juicy. And I want to know what Helen did to lose her job now. Because it sounds like she was making stuff up. Or, some sort of breach of journalistic ethics.
Well, it's Henry says something about Helen's reputation for journalistic fraud, and Helen again admonishes Daniel for not Googling her more thoroughly. It's like, why didn't you look me up more? But Daniel does later, when he's in the office, he looks it up, and we can see the headline that she fell for a fictitious source, it seems. So it sounds more like she was being a dumbass rather than like a malicious fraud or something.
Okay, I missed that bit.
Yeah, it was just on the computer screen right before Sam called.
I'm not very good at picking up on stuff like that, I'll be honest.
Yeah, this is a show where I'm definitely, every time something's on the computer screen, I'm pausing and reading. But that's why you come to this podcast, so that I can do that for you guys.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm assuming obviously we'll hear more about that. And I'll say that the way it was blocking most of the screen, so I couldn't really read much about the details of that.
Okay.
Like a pencil thing on the desk or whatever was blocking. But yeah, so Henry, we are calling him Henry because that's what he's called in the credits, and it's just easier to have a name for him. But he noticeably addresses them by name, but refuses to give his own.
Yeah, good tradecraft.
Yeah. I mean, and also Daniel even asks, like, he's like, "Oh, you gave these things to these people in exchange for what?" And Henry does not answer. He just says he is merely representing people who have the ability to offer these things. So he's saying, "I am not the man with power. I'm the man who does the dirty work for the people with the power."
You know what this reminded me of? It's Mr. Kobayashi in The Usual Suspects. Pete Postlethwaite, actually.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And for anyone, why is that significant for this show? For anyone,
because Billy Postlethwaite, who plays Down Deep Deputy Hank, is his son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Pete.
Yeah.
I did think it was funny. They refuse to drink anything. He's like, "I'll buy you coffee," and they're like, "No, thanks."
No, we're good.
And I like, and this is the thing. Like, Daniel has a subtle personality, but I quite like it. He's this quiet sarcasm. Like, he's like, "We're all set. Appreciate it." And he's got like he's a nice Georgia boy, and a politician. But still, like, the way he delivers this, he does this like squint with his eyes. It's like almost like an eye roll. He's like, "Nah, we're good. Thanks, buddy. Bless your heart." But here's the thing. Do you believe what he said about Hacker Steve and James Alameda? Sorry.
Alameda.
Yeah.
Yes, on balance, I do, because you do tend to catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. And, like, certainly for Mr. Alameda, like, he is not in this conspiracy theory world. It could very much be, we're sorry for your loss. Your one served his country. Here is some, we're here to help you out. Hacker Steve, less so, but like you said in the show notes, government agencies do hire hackers fairly regularly, and my understanding is it pays very well as well.
Yeah, no, I do know people who have had that happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, so it's definitely a legit thing that happens. I find it odd that their phones wouldn't work. Like, I can understand, like, they wouldn't want to give them information, but the fact that their phones, and the fact that, like, Steve seems to have been kidnapped.
Yeah, like forced. Well, I mean, no, it wasn't a kidnapping. Maybe it was just a meeting that he was forcibly asked to attend.
Okay, fair. I am going to remain a little suspicious until we actually see them, because I just think it's weird. Like, if they're going back to their lives, like, it's not like they've James has to leave his wife or whatever, presumably he's going home. Why wouldn't his phone still work?
Well, yeah.
Okay, but
Yeah.
let's take it at face value what he says he offered them. Now, I'll say for James Alameda, he said that he was bailing out his brother's woodworking shop, and he says in Tehachapi, California. Sorry if I said that wrong.
The correct pronunciation of that town is Tehachapi, California.
Thank you, Listu. I was not familiar with this name per se, although I should have been once I looked it up. It is a mountain town in California, obviously. And just to quote Wikipedia, Tehachapi has been host to productions by both Hollywood and independent filmmakers, as well as being frequently mentioned, particularly during the noir era, where I guess they were especially interested in a local women's prison there. But yeah, it's been in a bunch of noir movies like Maltese Falcon and things like that. So I should have recognized that. But yeah, interesting. I suppose it's just like a Hollywood Easter egg.
Yeah, nice.
The other one, I wonder if it has plot significance. So the Radford group is where they say hacker Steve has his new job, and it's. I wonder if we'll hear more about this group. It seems to be a fictional group, but I'm assuming it's named after someone named James Radford, who was inducted into the Cryptologic Hall of Honor in 2023. Have you heard of this James Radford?
It rings a bell, but we've done really extensive research for this, Elysia. Like, I don't think Elysia puts together the notes for the show. The quality of the research is top notch. You put a lot of time and effort into this.
Yeah, I do go down a rabbit hole for better or worse for my own benefit. As you know, juggling it with other work sometimes, yeah. Maybe I should do less, but this is where
This
I
is
actually
top
would.
quality research.
This is where I would want to spend most of my working time if I could afford to do so. But yeah, so I mean, I just was curious, like, who is this James Radford? And there's three big things from his background that were cited as reasons why he was inducted into this Hall of Honor. And one is in the late 1970s, confronted with an analytic situation for which existing machine support was inadequate, Radford convinced NSA management that it would be possible to work with an outside contractor to solve this problem in a way that would protect NSA secrets. So basically, he was a breakthrough person in getting the NSA to cooperate with outside agencies so that they could get more expertise when needed on various things without compromising internal security. Do you think that might be relevant to the plot?
It most certainly might be relevant from Henry's point of view, or the people Henry works for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, is Radford Group going to come back?
Yeah, because I mean, Henry stinks of three-letter agency.
Yeah. So could Radford Group be one of these external agencies that's working with the NSA sort of thing? Yeah. The second thing that James Radford, the real person, is famous for, who that really, well, you'll understand why. It immediately perked up my ears. In the early 1990s, Radford developed SPDs. What are SPDs?
I don't know, but I'll be honest.
Future editor Elysia says, I think it's surge protective devices. That's my best guess. Okay, that enabled NSA's strong support of U.S. forces participating in Operation Desert Storm. Many in the agency's leadership credited this development with intelligence production that saved many lives. So I say Operation Desert Storm like that because, well, we talked about it last episode.
We talked about it last week.
Yeah. So we know, James Alameda, he is, again, he was the one with the woodworking shop, not Hacker Steve, but he participated in Operation Desert Storm.
Yeah, it's all coming together.
It all comes together. And then the final thing that seemed interesting was later that decade, Radford assembled an interdisciplinary team of personnel experts in cryptanalysis, mathematics research, and microelectronics research that produced devices and plans for devices that enhanced the performance of the most powerful supercomputers against specific analytic problems in emerging technologies.
So are we thinking something to do with the algorithm?
I mean, so one interesting thing that is, so the technology, as we have noted in the silo itself in Juliette's time, is behind what we're seeing as, normal world technology as we know it today, as we're seeing in the previous timeline of the show. And we learned in season 1 that one reason for that is the pact prohibits the use of micro technologies. So you can't build new computers because you can't build computer chips because you can't use magnification devices and blah blah blah. So it's interesting that this James Radford specialized in exactly that sort of thing.
Do you think that's to stop anybody, as a security measure, to stop anybody potentially messing with the algorithm or interacting with the algorithm if they're not the head of IT?
I plead the fifth.
Okay.
But yeah, it's interesting. It's just interesting that I'm glad I went down that rabbit hole because I was like, maybe Radford is somebody who's relevant. And then I'm like, actually, surprising level of relevance, perhaps. Maybe. We'll see.
Okay, so I may have stumbled on a potential book spoiler there. Interesting.
Well, what do you think? I mean, it's not a book spoiler. I just said I won't talk about it. But what do you think? What is your assumption then?
It just makes sense to me that if you've got a very powerful algorithm running on computers much more advanced than anything else in the silo,
Mm-hmm.
and that algorithm is there as the ultimate sort of watchdog of the silo, you wouldn't want to run the risk of having anybody interact with that algorithm who wasn't authorized to do so. So wasn't the head of IT or their shadow. And you wouldn't want anybody to have the computing power necessary to mess with the algorithm either.
Even within the populations the algorithm is controlling.
Exactly.
Okay.
And also, like I said last week, I do wonder if the algorithm has been running continuously for 352 years, and we've no reason to suppose that it hasn't been. Has it been able to evolve beyond the original parameters of its programming?
Okay. Good questions. Good questions. And speaking of things to think about, Helen says she wants to go think. She's going to go back to her ex's place for the next week he's away, think about stuff. And Daniel's like, well, I guess I'll go catch up on work then. And that's that.
Like, Hugh Howey and the writers have a very cynical view of what Congress people do because, yes, they ask people for money, but that's all we've seen Daniel do. Like, he hasn't read a single piece of legislation. He's not responded to a single piece of constituency correspondence that we've seen.
Okay. Well, I mean, first of all, this is not like, there's not like parts of the novel where Daniel's making phone calls like this, but it does seem like a normal part of his job. We do know that obviously legislation is a big thing in this world, as always, because Anna specifically works on that for her mother. So I think we should not assume that whenever Daniel's off screen, he's not doing other things. I think it's just for the TV side. It's convenient to have him make the phone calls so that probably mostly so that we can get this late night phone call that comes in next. So let me set that up. Back at his office, empty at this late hour, Daniel receives a phone call from his friend Sam. He says he's routed the call through a burner so that it can't be tracked. From Daniel's side, it will look like one of the many fundraising calls he makes, albeit at an unusually late hour. He says, Sam says he looked into what Daniel said about Charlotte's mission and found something. And then Daniel shows up at Palmer's apartment to update Helen. He asks her for her help, and the two set off in Daniel's new shady minivan rental.
It could be stolen for all I know.
He's like, look how badass I am with my minivan.
Yeah, didn't he buy it off some guy who was advertising it on like lampposts?
Yeah, that's what he said, cash. Yeah, he rented it even. So it's like, you're going to give it back? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if that van makes it back.
Yeah.
But we also learned from the phone call with Sam that apparently a week has passed since their Pentagon meeting. So that Helen was still just chilling at Palmer's place, but like,
and like
she said he'd be gone for another week, so he must.
I'm
going to
say
back,
Palmer will turn up any minute.
Right, that's what it felt like.
It'd be like Goldilocks.
I mean, I guess they're gone, but like, was she planning to stick around until he got back? I guess if they're on good terms,
I guess,
not?
But yeah, like who's been sleeping in my bed? And where are my pickles?
Where are my pickles? I was saving those for 2 years.
Also, but they did leave donuts and bear claws, presumably.
I mean, I hope they're cleaned up a week later.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we've used the Juliette to Simsnard scale. We've said that it's about morality, but I realized I think what the Juliette to Simsnard scale really is about trust. Like, I don't know that I always think Juliette is the most moral person, but I trust her to tell me the truth. Whereas I trust Sims and Bernard the least to tell me the truth. Do you agree with that assessment?
Ooh. Ooh. No, I've always thought it was good versus baddie, but yeah, goodies versus baddies, but yes. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think trust is certainly one component of the Simpson scale.
For me, I think it's the main component because I was struggling with having Juliette on the good end because I don't think she's always necessarily the most moral, but what does moral mean? I'm like, well,
Yeah.
I suppose, yeah, I'm saying like if I ask someone a question point blank, who do I most or least expect to just tell it like it is, be honest with me?
Yeah.
So, okay, if we see it as a trust scale for this purpose, where do you place Sam on it at this point?
I place him towards the Juliet end.
Hmm.
I think he's an old friend of Daniel's. I think he does have a sense of right and wrong. Like I say, I have a horrible feeling that when there's just something about the way that line about having a wife and kids was delivered that very much put me in mind of, and it was 2 weeks to retirement.
I do wonder if that line was for the book readers to be like, no, it's not what you think. Because I told you, like, immediately, it's like, oh, Daniel's old friend who has special access to things. Oh, he's a wife of kids. No, that's not who I think.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, I would. I am inclined to believe him until I have reason not to believe him.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think just this is the type of show that has me suspecting everyone. So I'm going to put him in the middle now because,
Okay.
like I was saying, like his reactions to things, I was trying to read them both ways and seeing which made sense. And I'm like, honestly, it could go either way. Like if you said it was all in the up and up and he meant every reaction as it seems, then I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. And it was like, actually, he was playing a game the whole time trying to like get info from Daniel. I'd be like, oh yeah, that also makes sense.
Do we think Henry is now competition for Sims and Bernard on the Sims Nard scale?
Um, I mean, I guess it is Henry more competition, for example, for Amundsen, like the henchman who does the deed rather than the one who decides the deed must be done?
Well, that's only what he told
Yeah, we don't know.
Charlotte and Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if I am the big bad pretending to be a henchman, it's not a bad ploy. Because you're not going to believe, like, they're not going to buy that he's a good guy.
Yeah.
But they might buy he's not the baddiest of bad baddies.
Well, so I'll say, because this isn't a book spoiler, Abby and I were talking about this character on the book club last week, and she did say before this episode came out, so she hadn't seen this explanation he gave. Her hypothesis was, she was like, well, honestly, I think he is like more of the henchman type. I don't forget which word she used, but basically along those lines, because the people who are really in charge aren't the ones running around taking care of the details like this. So when he said that, I was like, oh, I think Abby's right. I don't know. We'll see. It all remains to be seen. I do find it interesting with Sam that he knew to find Daniel at the office that late at night.
Yeah, so that means he's got... Well, actually, presumably Daniel's office number is publicly listed.
Yeah, but to know that he'd be there at night. But then he did make sure before he said anything. He's like, who am I speaking with? And he's like, oh, it's Congressman Daniel. He's like, okay, shut up. It's me.
Yeah, interesting.
And then the question remains, what did he find out? He said he told him something. Do you have any tinfoil hat theories before episode 5 about that?
No, I don't, actually. I'm just waiting to see what happens. My supply of tinfoil is running pretty low right now, actually, because this is the thing. I think I can't get off Aliens now.
Okay,
I've got tinfoil, but I've got the tinfoil hat equivalent of writer's block.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my answers would either be too specific or too general, but I suppose it's just, you found out something about maybe the Iran committee, whatever that whole situation is.
Yes, we still don't know anything about that.
Mm-hmm.
The Iran committee that I don't think is an Iran committee.
All right. Do you have any more thoughts about the Daniel part of the story this week?
No, only that, like I said before, I've reevaluated my initial assessment of Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I am much more up on Daniel than I was.
Daniel's stocks have risen and
Yeah.
Helen's have
Helen's
dipped.
fallen somewhat. They've dipped somewhat. The thing is, I think whatever Daniel does, he is not going to stop until Charlotte is healthy.
Right.
Yeah.
He's driven by caring for his sister, for sure.
Exactly.
We know that. Yeah. As far as Helen, you say, okay, so it's dipped on that side. Why exactly?
Well, because she was at least tempted by it. I mean, she didn't take it in the end. We don't think, but she was at least tempted by the offer to go to the New York Times, and that would have sold out. That would have sold Daniel out. I mean, let's not be about the bush. It would have.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not way down on Helen.
No.
But yeah, the fact that she was tempted is kind of that bothers me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'll say it is, for me, the most telling thing is this Henry character who's been watching them both decided the best way to corrupt them is Helen, to give her something she wants. Because I guess, I mean, he gave the others things they wanted to shut them up, apparently, if we take him at face value, what he said. But then with Daniel, he's like, the only way to get to him is to threaten someone he loves.
Yeah.
Threaten the well-being of someone he loves, which I guess says more about Daniel as a character than any of the others. Okay, well, let's take a break here. When we come back, we're going to switch to the Silo 18 side of the story. Be right back. All right, so we've got a death warrant out. At the end of the last episode, the algorithm left Camille Alexandria Riley with a new directive. According to the algorithm, if Camille wants to save the silo, Juliette, Rebecca Ferguson, has got to go. Since it's known the mayor is in the hospital in critical condition after her unmasked exploration of the mines while they were under fumigation, they are left with the opportunity to help her die a hero. Her story, an inspiration to all. Camille and the algorithm hope that it will bring the rest of the silo together, stepping them all back from the brink of a reset or worse. As this is going on, Camille's husband, Judge Robert Sims, Common, shows up at the office, allegedly to offer her moral support at this difficult moment. Camille asks him to start the judicial process for installing an interim mayor, saying Juliette is unlikely to survive the night, but stops short of telling her husband she plans to outright have her killed. Robert, however, knows that the algorithm wanted Juliette dead 3 months ago, and so guesses that the gassing of the mines must be related to that. But Camille tells him Lucas Kyle was the target there. Sims says he understands and that this could stop the need for a reset. He offers to take care of Juliette for his wife, but she insists it has to be her. And he insists she doesn't have to be alone. By this point, Camille has already asked Head of Judicial Security Emerson, Florian Clare, to tell Nurse Amy, Jacqueline Bursis, to subdue Juliette for her arrival. But instead of helping Emerson as commanded, Amy instead knocks Emerson out with a syringe and helps Juliette escape. Nurse Amy helps Juliette flee partway down the stairs, offering her oxygen to help with her rat poison-damaged lungs. So, were you surprised by the about face from Nurse Amy here?
I was surprised. But I think by the end of the episode, I understood why it had happened and what was going on.
What do you think?
I think she is. I think she is following orders from the head of IT, and the head of IT in this instance is not Camille. She figured out that she knew that Bernard was still alive.
Oh, you think Bernard's the one giving orders?
Yes, I do in this instance.
Okay. I have another theory. Mm-hmm.
Well, because whatever happened to Bernard, he definitely was burned. He was definitely not in a good way at the end of season 2. So he would have required some kind of medical care.
True.
Nurse Amy could have provided that.
Mm-hmm.
We also know that obviously Bernard is the head of IT, and we know that Nurse Amy does not have a problem, does not have an ethical problem mistreating her patients in service to the greater good.
Okay.
Because of the whole business with Gloria.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Where's Gloria? Sorry.
Where's Gloria? So I'm thinking that from Amy's point of view, Bernard is still alive, therefore he is still the legitimate head of IT. Therefore, she's going to be following orders from Bernard.
Mm-hmm.
Also, who do we think the interim mayor would be? Billings?
I mean, it depends how much they still think they can control him. I guess they think because Billings has just seemed depressed lately, they probably think, yeah, probably.
Or Knox, possibly. Like, it would have to be a department head.
Yeah, but I don't think they would make it the guy who led the revolution and is known for having a temper.
That's true, yeah.
Especially not after. We'll get to his role.
Yeah, scratch that. That was a bit of a brain fart on my part.
I don't know. I don't know that there's any other prominent characters that would easily they would just slide into that as Billings. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, it's not often I say this, but props to Robert Sims. He was there for his wife when she needed him.
Mm.
And and it's strange given the context, but I thought that line, I have to do it. I understand, but you don't have to do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
That was oddly touching, but weird given what they were talking about is murder. But
I mean, yeah. We'll talk about, like, we've got 2 more sections at least about the stuff between the Simses. They played a big role this episode, but based on things that happened this episode, I left this episode under the assumption that Robert Sims is the one who was giving orders to Nurse Amy as he had done in the past.
how come?
Well, okay, we'll talk about it as we keep going. It's especially stuff that comes later, but
Okay.
So I had a much more, particularly in my rewatch of this first scene, I had a much more cynical read on that, that Camille lied to him. Is Robert proving to the algorithm his wife's not the only one who can lie? I'm not saying that's why he's doing it, but I did wonder if he was there to distract her, actually, to help let Juliette get away. And
man, that hadn't even occurred to me.
And I also just wonder, I don't know, if this matters at all, but Camille with her, oh, I have to be the one to have Juliette killed and all that, or do it myself or whatever. She wants to take personal responsibility. Does she know or not that her husband had other people killed before? She must, right?
She must know, or at least very strongly suspect. I mean, Camille would have to be an idiot not to put that together, and she's not an idiot.
I don't know that that's necessarily an assumption you jump to.
I don't know. I think she knows most of what Robert Sims has done.
But the thing is, yeah, when we first met this couple, they're like, we are the power strong couple who tells each other everything. And then we see from Camille's side, at least, that's not necessarily true. So I'm wondering from Robert's side, is that also still not necessarily true? And I don't know if I'm reading too much into this line delivery, but when Camille said Lucas is in the mines, he's like, oh, he's in the mines? I don't know if I think that he was genuinely surprised about that.
I don't know. I think this is I'm not criticizing Common's performance at all.
It could be a line delivery.
But I do think sometimes he does have a tendency to underplay lines.
Mm-hmm. I just putting it out there. All right, let's move on to the next section with them, where we have our spies for mechanical. As medics continue to help the poisoned miners, Knox, Shay McRae, and Shirley, Remy Milner, try to visit Juliette in the hospital but are turned away. Knox distracts the guards so that Shirley can sneak in to find out what's going on. She overhears Robert Sims debriefing the raiders. By now, Camille and Robert have discovered that Emerson has been knocked out and Juliette and Amy are gone. Sims tells the raiders Juliette is somewhere on this level, but all the cameras in medical have been shut down. He asks them to be discreet. Then Camille comes to Robert privately, Shirley still listening in and hiding, and asks him how they could have been so wrong about the nurse. Robert insists that she was always loyal until now. He says he knows the nurse's file and has an idea where she might be trying to take Juliette to her family down below. He says he will take care of it personally. Shirley returns to Knox, who is being detained, to whisper what she's learned before pretending to yell at him for being an asshole and stalking off in search of Jules.
like, props to Knox for this whole scene, because he was willing to take a beating just so Shirley could check in on Juliette.
Sure. I mean, I think, well, first of all, I think it was definitely to help Shirley, obviously. I think he also feels bad for letting Juliette go off on her own into the mines. So
yeah, that's true, but still, the guy's willing to get beaten up for his girlfriend and his BFF, so...
I mean, but I'm also like, I think it was a pleasure for him in the end when, I've got my eye on you. Head Raider Johnny is this character's name, played by Sean Carter Peterson.
Well,
and
you're entitled to your opinion.
This character is on my shit list. You don't think Head Raider Johnny deserved a punch in the face after he said, "You led the rebellion. I was down in the generator room, saw all that gunpowder. I said, instead of marching you upstairs, we should put you all in there with the gunpowder, then light a match. What do you think?" Smarmy smile.
I just love the way Shane McRae delivers that line. I think you're entitled to your opinion. By the way, it was Shane McRae's birthday on Thursday.
Oh, well, happy belated to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I for me, I was like, I'm amazed that Knox restrained himself for a moment. I'm like, wow, he's having a very level-headed response. Nope, here we go.
No, here we go.
Whether it's just a lucky dovetailing of goals where punching this douche in the face also served the purpose of distracting them all so that Shirley could sneak in. Shirley, I think that we hopefully cleared up her characterization for more people here too, where, people have been frustrated with her rejecting Jules's attempts to reach out because she was hurt about Jules not recognizing her and all that. But now we see here, she calls herself a total piece of shit because like she's feeling really bad about that behavior now. And now like she and Jules finally had it out last episode. And then suddenly like that threat that Jules will be taken away from her again is dangling in front of her once more. And Shirley is desperate to see her. She's like, no, it's just getting her back. So I don't know. How are you feeling about Shirley? Is her stock up or down this week?
Shirley's stock has always been quite high with me. I think it's steady at the moment. Like, yeah, and I do like the fact that even though Juliette's memory is still a bit scrambled, like their relationship is on the mend.
Yeah. Of course, Shirley has no reason at this point not to think that Sims is not also on team kill Juliette. But I have my suspicions because I will come to the last section in just a moment that's about this. But, when he said Nurse Amy's always been loyal until now, I'm like, until and including now? Is that what we mean by until now here?
Well, I see. Yes, see, I think I read that differently. I think she still is loyal. She's loyal to the true king in the north, to the true head of IT, Bernard.
Okay, and also like Sims shut down the cameras in medical, maybe is because certainly he would be able to.
I've got to say that kind of does make sense, because if people are outraged about the cameras, one of the places they're going to be like most upset about themselves being filmed is when you're in the, this is you being filmed in very personal and compromising positions.
Sure, but it's also a place where security is extra important, and you want to be monitoring patients if something goes wrong, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess it evens out.
For me, the final thing is that like this whole thing where he says her family is down below and that's where he'll find her. But then why was he waiting exactly in that pump room where Nurse Amy told Juliette to go? We'll come to that part in just a moment. But
yeah, that is a bit. Yes, that's
the main thing for me that I'm like. Interesting. That's not where she keeps her family. I'm pretty sure her family does not live in that pump room. Yeah. So I don't know. My question though is if he is working against his wife here and he's like, oh, let me take care of it because he's going to not take care of it. How is he going to explain his continued failure to her?
Yeah, that's a good. Oh, it's interesting. I was the one that was really down on the Sims' marriage, but like after this episode, I was having second thoughts, and it seems like you've really doubled down on it now. So this is
Well, I
interesting.
wasn't so down on them, and I still think they'll end on the same side. And I think they have the same ultimate goals, which is like the safety of the silo and most of all their son within it.
Yeah,
Or without it, apparently Camille has her "my son's gonna walk outside" delusions for no reason. But yeah, so I think they have the ultimate goal, but Camille proved in past seasons that she thinks sometimes achieving that goal means lying to her husband, and he knows that now. So maybe he's thinking along the same lines.
yeah.
Hmm. All right, let's up this last related section here about Jules' protector. Nurse Amy and her patient hide in a linen closet until a raider discovers it's locked and goes looking for a key. But Amy, who quote unquote basically grew up in medical, knows that there is an old vertical tunnel leading out of this closet.
How many people have been digging tunnels in this silo?
I mean, it's been around for 350 years, so yeah. This was made a long time ago by someone who no longer wanted the inconvenience of going all the way around to use the stairs.
You know
Which
what? I am absolutely. I 100% believe that. I absolutely get it.
I get it, yeah. Finding themselves cornered again, Amy gives Juliette the oxygen canister and tells her to go to the pump room on 76. Then Amy runs out to distract the raiders away from Juliette. This gives Juliette the chance to make her way to this pump room where she finds Sims waiting for her, asking her to listen to him. Juliette runs out, and just then Shirley also arrives looking for Jules, and she and Juliette run off together, leaving a frustrated Sims behind in a room with the handle broken off. So yeah, this is where I was yelling after Nurse Amy, "Thank you, but where is Gloria? What happened to Gloria?"
Also, like presumably that injection was designed to kill Juliet, or like that was what we were led to believe. So how is Emerson like just knocked unconscious?
I don't think, I mean, Nurse Amy's the one who prepared it, so I just assume she
Yeah,
prepared something to knock her out and not kill her. But here's the question: so Amy goes running out, and she gets taken, and she's like, and they're like, "Where's the mayor?" And she's like, "What? She's passed out in medical. That's where I left her." And so, sure, the cameras in medical are off, so she could get away with the lie. And she's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll show you where she was, where last saw her." But then, the question is Emerson, when she wakes up, would presumably remember differently unless there was also some sort of like extra drug in there to prevent her from forming that memory from right before she was knocked out. You know, like a blackout when
interesting.
you
Yeah,
drink
yeah,
alcohol
yeah,
or something.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's my, because also like if someone's like, "Oh, did little Nurse Amy take big agent out?" People would be like, probably not, because she really like went full spider monkey on her to get her down.
She really did. I mean, no, Amy may be small, but she is mighty.
So yeah, I'm wondering, because then that's also the thing, like, would she be worried about being interrogated from judicial? Obviously, she has this story and no camera. She obviously knew the cameras were out. But also, if Sims is a judge, he could run interference on her behalf as well, which could be an agreement if he is the one whispering in her ear what to do.
Yeah, but like I say, I still think it's Bernard.
Okay. I will say that the pump room where they met this time is not the same one where Bernard met Walker last season. So this was 76. That was 90, which is closer to Martha's neck of the woods. So it was a bigger walk for Bernard. Just pointing it out for, I don't know, just in case it becomes relevant. But it's not, that does, if it were the same pump room, I would be more inclined to think that Bernard and Sims are involved in the same plot. But now I'm wondering at this point how many different factions there are.
There's that great line in Blackadder. What, spy on our own spy as he searches for their spy? Why not? Sounds rather fun.
Yeah, very, I mean, to be honest, it's very like noir plotting, you know.
It is.
All these factions against each other or secretly working together unknowingly or blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And we learn one more very interesting piece of information here. Nurse Amy swapped out Juliette's pills before she started spitting them out. So it's not necessarily that Juliette is specially resistant to them, but Nurse Amy was giving her a chance to recover her memories before the pills kicked in. And she just says, someone asked me to replace them. Who? Look, we don't have time for that. I'm like, no, there's always time to say a name. Say the name.
Say the name.
Don't be Orla. She got her head bashed in when she didn't say things.
It's very much in the mold of let's split up.
Right. Yeah. Don't split the party. Yeah. And yeah, I saw people also questioning, like, why would Nurse Amy still report to Camille that Juliette was spitting out her pills? And I say just to keep up appearances and not get caught. Like, I think she knows about the cameras in the apartments and stuff. So
yeah,
there's no reason for her not to continue to go along with that ruse, but just to give her different pills.
What, just like placebos?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe like actual vitamins.
Yeah, that would be ironic.
All right. Any thoughts on this part of the plot?
No, I think you've had all my thoughts.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll check in on Billings and the other goings-on in Silo 18 this episode. Be right back. Okay, pulse not found. Sheriff Billings, Chinaza Uche, has unfortunately found missing Shadow to the Head of Supply, Orla Kent, Quaylen Sepulveda. She was in the mines, dead. The morgue tech, Ian Drisdale, tells him and Deputy Molly Cairns, Angela Yo, that Orla died from a head wound a couple of days earlier, and her clean lungs indicate that it happened before she was brought into the mines. Billings radios Deputy Murphy, asking him to pass on a message to Carla McLean, if possible. Oh, that's Hank, by the way. To meet him in Supply so that he can tell her about Orla. But when he gets down there, he instead finds Mike Davidson, Chris Fulton, the man with the dog who used to not only be Orla's ex-boyfriend, but also her Shadow to the Head of Supply predecessor, Glenda's boyfriend as well. Glenda Harwood, Gemma Acosta, meanwhile, is operating head of supply with Carla and Orla, both MIA. She finds Paul Billings searching through the Shadow to the Head of Supply office, and he questions her for calling it hers. She admits she doesn't like that Orla took her job, but says that Mike Davidson is not Orla's boyfriend. He's just a narcissist. So, thoughts on...
I love Billings in this whole scene. He does a very good Columbo impression of that kind of, I'm just asking questions. I don't really know what's going on, but I know exactly what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, I still now I'm at the point where I'm like, is Mike looking too suspicious now? Like, I know Billings, he does end this with questioning Glenda because she's like, to be honest, she's like, to be honest, like, I didn't mind her taking the job because it gave me a chance to go home and see my dad and stuff. And he's like, right, your dad, the asshole who's the head of mines. Tell me more about the last time you saw Orla, like he's questioning her. But the fact that she just outright admits that she was not an Orla Kent fan, to me, makes her seem less suspicious.
Yes, and I tend to go with sort of Occam's razor on this. I think with so much else going on, the last thing this series needs is another twisty-turny mystery. Okay. So I think until somebody tells me otherwise, I think Mike did it. I think what matters, this is not the interesting part of this is not a who done it. Mm-hmm. It's a why done it. Mm-hmm. And because I think Orla's her sort of tracking back on these missing supplies might sort of link back in some way, we don't know yet, to the outsiders and what's going on there. So I'm less concerned with who killed Orla than why she was killed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just think from a story point of view, I think another really twisty-turny mystery might just be like the one Jenga block too many.
I'm a noir fan, so I disagree. But
Okay.
well, and that's also this is like the why done it as far as the whole silo system. I know that one. This, no idea. All this is new. All this Orla and stuff. Although I'll say Abby and I decided. So we were reviewing the minds, and I remembered like we've been talking about this character Rafe, who I said that Ed Harwood might have been, but I forgot there's actually also another character who was actually the head of minds and had a daughter whose name was Hyla. But I think that Rafe and this other guy, Bobby, I think was his name, have been merged together into one character, like the same way like Knox and Mark have, or Shirley and Courtney. And that, they made the daughter Glenda and are giving her more of a role. So it's like they took the outlines of characters from the book and they're giving us this whole new plot with it. And I'm very intrigued. I do think it will tie into where I think the Silo 18 plot is going this season. But this is all new and fun for me. And yes, I want to know why they're taking stuff, but I also definitely want to know who for sure. And like I'm always suspicious if someone looks too suspicious, but Mike, weird. He didn't give Billings his name when Billings gave his name. He didn't look too pleased that Billings knew who he was. Is like, oh, I got your name from her sister. Like, oh yeah, Sheila, of course. Yeah, Billings lies about finding Orla, but Mike doesn't even look remotely worried. But he says, and this is fair enough, Orla's more independent than people think, family included. What do you think?
Yeah, that last part is fair enough. But if Mike didn't do it, like, he's doing a very good impression of somebody that did do it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, somebody take this dog from this man and give the dog a better name than Dandy.
Is that the dog's name?
Yeah, that's what he said. The dog's name is Dandy.
Okay.
And then this is also the question. McLean hasn't been up here for months. I guess that means she has been down with Martha, presumably, right?
Presumably.
I mean, I hope we don't have to worry about her. But no, I don't. I'm assuming she hasn't been up here for months. I mean, she's been down, presumably with Martha, presumably with this alleged Digger Void shutting down, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Hyde Bernard Project.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. So going back to the mortician, he said there was a full house of people who died from the rat poison. I'm like, how many? And again, we brought this up last week. What is the reckoning going to be for Camille about this? Because, and it's also noticeable that Orla was apparently struck by a length of rebar, which he could tell because of the ribbed pattern in the wound.
Yeah, is this a plot to frame Shirley, do we think?
No, because Shirley is waiting for rebar. She keeps bringing up rebar that they don't have it.
Yeah.
She's waiting for it for the stair repair. So I think this means that, whoever took the rebar from Critical Supply is the one who killed Orla, which would make sense considering that's exactly what Orla was investigating. Yeah, because Billings also confirms that the mines use rebar and reinforcing the ceiling.
Yeah, so, that makes. Although usually you use wood. Usually you use wood for that.
Well, apparently they use rebar.
Okay.
But then I don't like the way they're painting it as like potentially Lucas suspicious that he was hiding out in the mines or. Yeah, I don't know. What's going on in the mines.
Yeah.
Because now I don't think it was Glenda. But why would Mike have anything to do with that? Yeah. Like you said, it comes back to the why done it then. Why?
Yes.
And Molly said, Deputy Molly said that Orla, was found in a closed off side tunnel. She was never supposed to be found, which leaves me with the question, like, what, were they just planning to let her rot there? Like, that was going to be noticeable at some point, right?
Oh!
Or they were hoping the rats would do something?
Yeah, I'm hoping the rats would do something. And also, like, given the number of disused tunnels, like, I mean, there's a limited number of places you could stash a body in the silo, so
Well, you
the
would think you would
mine,
just want to like bury it in the farm at night or something,
yeah, maybe, but like,
or put it in the incinerator.
yeah, yeah, but presumably there are cameras in the incinerator
Yeah, and the farms.
and the farms. And there won't the mines is the one place you're pretty much guaranteed that there won't be cameras because presumably like the atmosphere is too unpleasant for them to work long term and it'd be too dark.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Well, so that mystery is up in the air. But meanwhile, the insider meets the outsiders. Okay, name dump incoming. Sorry to the person who complained about that. We got a 2-star review about it, by the way, from the same person. Sandy Chipo Chung has brought Patrick Kennedy, Rick Gomez, to meet with Lucas Avinash, who waits in a storeroom with Kathleen Billings, Caitlin Zaz. Lucas tells them that the lie is the lie. The green display cleaners see when they go outside is the falsehood, and the desolate view they see from the cafeteria screens is the reality. Patrick, not understanding the level of insider knowledge Lucas would have gained from becoming the shadow to the head of IT, assumes someone has, quote unquote, gotten to Lucas. But Kathleen, the one who most held on to hope Lucas was still alive in the first place, is more inclined to believe him. Once Lucas tells them that Juliette actually went looking for him in the mines and recognized him when he carried her out last episode, suddenly they're all listening. As they're talking, Danny Bly, Will Merrick, bursts in with the news that the raiders are out and looking for someone. He prevents a too lax Lucas from just walking straight out into all that mess, but all quickly fall silent when they hear judicial security knocking on doors nearby. Yeah, so I'll just say I did a lot of talk in season 1 about whether or not I thought their explanation in the show for why people clean, to which they said in the show is like, I don't know, to help them see this green that they think is real. I that as an explanation didn't really work for me. I'm going to stick more with the explanation from the book excerpt that I read last episode, which is basically that cleaning is only for people inclined to fall for that trap, or else someone like Bernard just has the threat eliminated, as he did with Book George.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, what did you think? I mean, I guess we teased this already, and we'll get into this more in a sec. But any thoughts so far on Lucas and the Outsiders' fateful meeting finally?
Lucas has very definitely run out of fucks to give. Like his fucks have gone on vacation. Like this guy has been through some stuff and he just doesn't care. Like the whole like Patrick Kennedy thing is like, look, you're wrong. Can we just move on? I need to go and find Juliette, okay?
It was also with Danny, when he's like, he comes in and he's like, there's raiders out there, and Lucas is like, oh, I gotta go, and Danny's like in front of the door like, stop it. It was like, it felt like he was scolding a little child. It made me laugh.
But yeah, I just love Avi Nash's world weary.
Yeah.
Don't have time for this.
I mean, do you have time to get arrested? Because they're outside the door. He just told you that. Of course, like, they don't know the raiders are looking for Juliette and Amy at this point. Then we get to our last section, the Digger Not So Void, where Shirley warns Juliette that they are trying to kill her, and Shirley wants to get her down to mechanical. Juliette wants to find Lucas. Shirley seems skeptical of Juliette's claims to have seen him still alive, but finally relents and agrees to take Juliette down to show her that the Digger Void really is sealed off. The pair get help crossing the gap in the stairs from construction worker Aussie, Michael Eunice, who agrees to stall anyone, even raiders, who show up over the next half hour. Sandy, who has been following Juliette all night, witnesses this and goes to tell the outsiders and Lucas that Jules is on the move. When she tells them Juliette's with Shirley, Lucas realizes they must be headed toward the same place Shirley once took him, the Digger Void. He needs to stop her before she talks to the voice in the door, potentially making everything worse. Patrick agrees to help smuggle Lucas down there. When Juliette and Shirley get down there with a distant head start, Juliette takes a closer look at the place where the entrance used to be and discovers what is revealed to be a false wall. Able to get inside the space, Juliette reaches the hangout where she used to canoodle with George and finds it occupied by Bernard Sims, Tim Robbins. A bit burned, but very much still alive.
Okay, first off, before we even get into this, great use of the word canoodle. Internet points for the use of the word canoodle.
I will not let old-fashioned words die. Helen would make fun of me. She doesn't even like the word date. So Shirley still thinks Lucas is dead. And it was interesting to see this reaction where Juliette, like, she's questioning her own memories for a moment. She's like, no, but I did just see him. But it's like she still has such a hazy enough memory that Shirley's saying, like, no, he's dead with that certainty. She's like, did I really see? No, I'm pretty sure that's who I saw. I'm pretty sure that's who that guy was. Because, of course, she remembered their cafeteria meetings previously before that, too.
Yeah.
And Juliette, it's nice they got to have a little talk where she explained to Shirley about the medicine, but that she still gets feelings about people, like that Knox low-key pisses her off, even if she can't remember why. And she says with Shirley, she feels like she'd kill anyone who harmed her. And I feel like that's the best thing she could have said to Shirley. Like, that's a violence of loyalty that Shirley can get behind.
Yep, definitely. That's definitely Shirley's love language.
Yeah, I would kill for you. Thank you. That's all I've been asking for.
That's all I wanted to know.
I'm a little worried about construction worker Aussie. Will he wind up being questioned by someone?
Presumably. I mean, the Raiders are going to get there pretty quick, you would think.
Mm-hmm. And and then we're left with a couple more questions at the end. Like, first of all, Danny says Lucas won't like how Patrick Kennedy gets him down there. And then we don't find out what the plan is. But I'm wondering, could it be the trash chutes like Juliette showed them at the end of season 1?
It could be the trash chutes, or they could be digging more tunnels.
Oh, man. I guess maybe we could see it in action, but it's like, let's not turn the silo into Swiss cheese.
Yeah, okay? Let's not do that.
Let's at least, be thoughtful in our digging of tunnels.
Yeah, but I hadn't. The trash chutes makes more sense, actually.
And then also the other question is, as Juliette goes into the digger void and discovers Bernard, they hear someone showing up at the top. So Shirley runs back up to see who it is. So I guess it could be either Lucas and co already, although I expect not. My guess is that it's Walker and Carla, but we'll see. Or someone else. Do you have any thoughts on that?
My guess is that it's Walker.
Yeah.
Because so... I mean, like, what, to say the least, Walker and Bernard did not end season 2 on good terms. He basically blackmailed. Well, he didn't basically anything. He blackmailed her.
Yeah.
And yet she seems to be all right with him, with hiding him and keeping him alive. And like I say, he must have needed medical attention. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where Nurse Amy comes in.
But Nurse Amy was up top. Why would Walker doesn't know her? So
I think if Bernard was looking for somebody he could trust, he would go
with her already.
Yeah, he would go with Nurse Amy.
He sent for her. I don't know. We'll see. But then it is like, okay. So here's the question: is what role does Sims play in all this? Because Sims, the story he told is that he didn't tell the part where he seems to have suffocated Bernard, but apparently not successfully. We'll see what that's about.
No, I think that was like made up out of whole cloth. I don't think he ever tried to suffocate him.
Well, he didn't tell anyone that. We just saw a glimpse of it as if that was a truth revealed.
No, but he was sort of.
He didn't say that. That was a reveal for us, the audience.
But he was talking to Camille and saying that Sims was dead.
Mm-hmm. Well, he told Juliette. He was telling Juliette that
he died from burns, but he told
that the poison got in. He said,
No, but he told Camille that he'd taken care of him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but the whole thing when we saw him smothering him, that was like a glimpse of truth. It was framed as amongst the lies he was telling Juliette about that he died because the fire burned holes in his suit and the bad air got in.
I have a hard time believing that you could get from the top of the silo to the bottom without Robert Sims knowing.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the thing is we know he was carried down and they cleared out the silo so that people wouldn't be able to see it because he said because of the contamination risk. That was his explanation. And then that he was burned, allegedly, obviously not. But we also know that they had the furnace on for days burning people because of all the people who died in the rebellion. So the question is, was he discovered down there still alive when Sims thought he was dead? Or did Sims bring him down there knowing he was alive? And if so, why?
I think Sims wants to know what's going on with the algorithm. Like what it is, what it is, what it wants, and why it wouldn't make him head of IT. And the only person that can answer those questions is Bernard.
Sure.
So I think that's why Sims wants to keep him alive. I also think he wants to know what Bernard knows more generally, just to like keep Camille and Anthony safe.
I mean, yeah. So, but now the Bernard's awake and obviously can speak. Presumably, if Sims is in on this, then presumably he would know that by now and thus have had a chance to speak to him. So, if that's the case, what is his game now? Why is he trying to, talk to Juliette? What does he want to talk to her about in the pump room?
Presumably, he wants to finish the conversation they were having in the airlock at the
Bernard,
end of season 2. Yeah.
But I'm saying, what does Sims want out of this at this point?
I think what Sims wants out of this at this point is insurance. Like, he can't be certain that he knows everything that Bernard knows.
And you think he thinks he can get more out of Juliette?
Yeah, or that there might be, like, Sims doesn't take chances that he doesn't have to take, and like he knows, like the only two people that have had experience dealing with the algorithm are Bernard and Lucas hasn't had very much experience. So I think Sims wants to keep him alive as insurance. Like, if this crazy computer voice thing tries to kill us, how do we switch it off, kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, certainly Bernard is a font of knowledge that presumably not even Camille has at this point.
Yeah. But how long was Bernard either head of IT or shadow to the head of IT?
I mean, a really long time before, because it was decades earlier that Judge Meadows was his shadow, right?
Yeah, so it's quite possible that he has the most experience dealing with the algorithm. Not just of the people alive in the silo right now.
In general,
but I'm saying of like all the heads of IT.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'll say even in the books, like we never, we can't check in on all 50 silos.
No, I'm saying of the heads of IT in silo 18.
Oh,
given that
in the history of Silo 18, you mean?
Yeah, in the full 352 years of Silo 18.
Presumably, Salvador Quinn, the head during the last rebellion, well, at least he collaborated to do the reset.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, it is funny. If Sims is working with, like, Bernard and the Down Deepers, it would be funny if he was meeting Juliette in that back room to be like, I gotta get you down to see Bernard, and then they're like, no, and run away, and then they go down and see Bernard anyway.
But I don't think it's with the Down Deepers. It will just be with Walker and
right.
McLean. Yeah,
no, yeah, because Shirley and Knox clearly did not know about this. Yeah. Any more overall thoughts about this episode before we get into our piece of feedback?
Actually, just one more thought on that bit. The other person that could know about this is Down Deep Deputy Hank, who we've seen suspiciously little of this season.
Yeah, that's true. And that was who That was who Billings reached out to and said, because I forgot, yeah, they said his last name's Murphy in the show, right?
Yeah.
And that, yeah, so that's who Billings reached out to like tell McLean to come up here. So Billings knows he's with her, or she's down there, or probably, I suppose the cover story is just that like she and Martha have rekindled things.
Yes.
And she already said she wants to retire. So
Yeah.
fair.
It'd be interesting to see how badly Bernard is actually hurt.
Yeah, we saw burns on his face, but
Yeah,
we'll
we
see
did.
beyond that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good question.
Like, will he be ambulatory by the end of the series, the end of the season, do we think? And will it matter?
Yeah, because presumably he's bedbound at this point.
Yeah, that was the impression I got.
Mm-hmm. But he's awake. He's definitely awake and cognizant.
Yeah, he's awake and he's conscious.
Forming
and
words, yeah.
Compos mentis.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing. I also think that he's the one giving instructions to Nurse Amy, because he wants to have a conversation with Juliette, and he wants Juliette to be able to remember what happened in order to have that conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Episode 5 is going to be, because this was one that Graham Yost, the showrunner, had said, like, he's like, oh, the end of episode 4 into episode 5, he said, is like a real turning point for the season. And so far, yeah, seems to be. So I can't wait to see where this all leads in the next one. But for now.
Now opening the listener feedback channel.
Now, we're only going to do one piece of feedback right now, to be honest. I am already collecting for the next mailbag, which I said previously we will do after episode 6. So do keep sending in your thoughts to woolshiftdustpodcast@gmail.com. You'll find that linked in the show notes, and do also check in on the Discord, where we have lively theorizing going on with discussions per episode, plus a book spoiler discussion, which is hopping with a lot of book reader theories right now. So yeah, please join in on that. But I happened to get a voicemail actually just a couple of hours ago that I gave it a listen. I was like, you know what, this feels very relevant to especially what's happening right now in the show. So let's listen to friend of the pod, Lestew's voicemail and his thoughts about. It's actually mostly responding to our discussion in the last mailbag, but very relevant to all of the plot right now.
Hello, Elysia and Luke. So I listened to the recent mailbag episode, and you guys were talking about memory loss. And here's how I think that works. Memory loss, by given the D+, which I wonder if they're going to get the Doctor Who stuff or not. I don't know.
The Doctor Who stuff.
So, given the D+, that's Disney+, get it? Okay. Given the D+,
it's Apple.
The memories slowly decay, right? So you may not remember what you had for breakfast yesterday or 3 days ago, but if someone comes along and tells you you had scrambled eggs and toast for breakfast, you'll naturally go, yeah, I had scrambled eggs and toast for breakfast. And so then that also translates into the big stuff too, right? So if you don't remember that Mayor Johns is your mayor, and then you go, oh, who's the mayor? And somebody comes along and says, that's the mayor. You'll be like, yes, of course Mayor Johns is the mayor. I have no reason to doubt that, because everything around me is being told to me that that is my mayor. So I believe this stuff. What's interesting to me is when you put that up against fascism, it starts to sound very similar. So and Luke, correct me if I've gotten this definition wrong, and I apologize if I do. What I find interesting, though, is if you live in sort of a police state, if you live in where things are controlled by the media, the information that you're being told is being filtered through someone else, not necessarily the truth, right? That starts to become very believable. So you may not remember why you were in the silo. They don't remember that. But if someone in power, i.e. the mayor or the head of IT, says, it's bad outside, you'll go, yeah, it's bad outside. And that makes a lot of sense to me. So that I think that's how the drugs work. The memory of forget drugs work in conjunction with some, we'll say positive reinforcement, but positive is a really thin word for what's going on there.
But that's a
Suggestion.
psychology term you would use, yeah, because you're adding something.
I think that's how they keep control. So I don't. I would like to think that people would naturally do what's right and tell the truth. I don't think in the silo they can, because if they did, then why would we have the silo, right? So I think that there's a nefarious thing going on there. Also, it is obviously aliens. Of course it's aliens. Why could it not be anything other than aliens? Except that humans are by far worse than aliens, as good science fiction tells us. So there's my tinfoil hat for you there, Luke. I really appreciate what you guys do, and I love listening to you and listening to your theories and conjectures and feelings on the subject. And Donald, my personal opinion on this is people react in different ways to different stimulus. I think he is one of those, I'm going to be very angry, but I'm going to keep it all in. And we see that by him going and even talking to Hacker Steve and trying to figure out what's going on there. And then going back and being like, no, I'm going to expose all this. I think that's how he's going to fight the power. But I understand why Luke is suggesting that he gets really upset. But I think he holds it in because I think that's what he's been told to do for so long, is hold things in. He's a public-facing person. He's got to hold it in and fight the power some other way. But we'll see how that goes because, that went well for them because they were able to get that cassette tape. Oh, wait. Anyway, last thoughts. Really appreciate you guys, and thanks for all you do.
All right. Thank you. Let's do. Luke, thoughts?
I would definitely say that yes, the silo is a police state.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely set up to be one. I think what Stu was describing there is exactly what Victor was saying to Daniel in episode 1 of series 3. Yeah, but I do have questions about how you do that for 10,000 people at the same time.
Well, I think it's easier because you kind of set that up already. You said, well, it would be harder to reinsert memories for 10,000 people at the same time, which is like, yeah, that's absolutely true. Unless it's something like, this is your mayor. This has always been your mayor. And you have no reason not to be like, yeah, sure. No. Yep. Of course,
Yeah.
mayor.
Yeah,
Mayor
I
Smith,
guess.
Whatever.
Yeah, I guess. I guess. Yeah, I'm not going to relitigate the whole business with Daniel's.
Well, you said your stocks has gone up.
Yeah, he has. I don't want to relitigate about, but I just thought that was it wasn't a big deal, but it was just a slight lacuna in the writing for me.
It's not the writing. It's you. Sorry. It's Daniel. Daniel's just being Daniel.
We are just going to have to agree to disagree on this one.
Okay. No, I have to say I completely agree with everything that Stu said. And I find it interesting that he was like, oh, maybe positive is the wrong word at that one point. And actually, I don't think he realizes that he was correctly using the word. Maybe I can't remember, did Nicole say this in her recent voicemail? But certainly she would say, the professor of psychology who left a voicemail during the feedback, for anyone who didn't hear that. But what she would say for sure is that, yeah, I guess she did in her voicemail, that it's positive because you are reintroducing these ideas, like you're adding, it's additive where you're saying, you're implanting memories by saying, oh, you don't remember things. Well, actually, this is what you don't remember. And it is true that most people in that situation would, if you have no reason not to distrust this information, then you will just accept it and internalize it, and it will become your memories pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was an excellent email, Stu. Thank you. Or voicemail, even.
Yes, thanks, Stu, and we appreciate all the feedback we get.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody wants to send in emails, voice notes, anything on the Discord, please get in touch because we're building a nice little community here.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what makes it the most fun for us is watching this and discussing this with all of you.
And Elysia will confirm this. I'm still a bit of a lurker, but I have been more active on the Discord.
It's true. It's
this
true.
season.
True story. So if you want to join that Discord, you'll find the link in the show notes with the invite to it's the Lorehounds Discord, but there is currently under current. If you're listening to this later, it'll be under shows and worlds. There's a forum for Silo with chats per episode, plus a separate book chat for the book readers. We will, of course, continue our full weekly coverage here, including the weekly episodes in the subscriber feeds as well. We want to hear your thoughts and theories for both. As Luke said, send them to willshiftustpodcast@gmail.com. Leave them in the Discord. Do your thing. And as far as these extra episodes that you will find in the book club, an extra feed through Supercast and or Patreon. It's basically the same thing right now. The Silazen level on Supercast is the same as the Patreon feed. I'm working on expanding the Patreon offerings also because by the way, I'm mad at Supercast right now. To anyone who got an email about the Supercast season pass glitch, I saw your responses. I am going back to them again to try to figure out what's going on. So stay tuned for that. But thank you so much to those of you who have signed up for either the season pass option, which is where you can just get the extra episodes for this season or for combinations of the prior seasons or all 3 seasons, including our book breakdowns that Abby and I do. And yeah, so you'll find, there's, if you just want a one-time fee option, then that's what the season passes are. If you want to do the monthly subscription, then you get all of that. Plus you get our other extras like Luke and I's holiday specials and other extra dives into Hugh Howey stories and Dune stories and things like that.
And before anybody's wondering, yes, we have both seen the trailer for Ebenezer. Yes, it will be on. It will be on. It will be part of the 2026 Christmas special.
100%.
Lord help us.
I'm excited for it. People are like, it's a prequel. I'm like, listen, do you know how many Christmas carols we've watched? Give us something new. I'm happy with the prequel. Let's do it. But yeah, so anyway, thank you to our new Silazens that have joined since my last shout out. Thank you, Laura D, Clay B, Jenny R, Kevin B, Pandemonium, Anna P, and Marie C, and welcome back returnees from prior seasons. And Luke, where can everyone find you if they want more Lukeness?
I am at Luke Middup on Blue Sky. That is the only social media I use. And I also record a podcast with 2 friends from university, Simon Alvey and Will Cooling. We don't record anything like as regularly as Will Shift does. We record about once a month, but Will has children and Simon has a social life. I have neither, but so we record about, like I said, about once a month. We talk all things British politics, international politics, culture, sport, whatever happens to take our fancy, basically.
So you'll find that linked in the show notes as well as Luke's Blue Sky. And you can find me most on Discord, Blue Sky. And I'm trying to dip my toe back into Threads a bit more. So I have that linked in the show notes as well. I'm at least like posting our episodes there now. And occasionally wading in, but it's like a big pool of people. I like Blue Sky is my happy place when it comes to that stuff, to be honest. And of course, you can find me on the Lorehounds feed, where there is currently, we just wrapped up our weekly The Vampire Lestat coverage. And actually, like a day or so after this episode comes out, there will be a finale, the Vampire Lestat wrap up. So we already did the finale episode, but we're doing an extra wrap up where we had Mark from Nevermind the Music, who came to discuss the music of this very musical season of television. So we had a lot of fun with that. Watch out for that. There's also in the Lorehounds feed House of the Dragon weekly coverage with David and Jean. And there's going to be a Supergirl episode to coincide with the digital release this coming week, and Odyssey film coverage shortly after that, led by John. And go to thelorehounds.com, linked in the show notes. You'll find all of those episodes, plus the episodes for our affiliates. Like I mentioned, Mark from Nevermind the Music, and also I mentioned Nicole, the professor of psychology. They have a music and psychology podcast together. So very regular weekly releases, lots of fun. We have new to the network, Dungeons and Do-Rags. They're also doing weekly coverage of House of the Dragon in a more barbershop style, where they're like, there's like 1.5 of them who know the lore, and then the rest of them are like bullshitting, like, wait, who is that and why? Should we care about her new ratchet haircut? That sort of thing. And check out my own The Star Wars Canon Timeline podcast. You'll find there as well. And coming up end of this month, a new feed from John and the Radioactive Rambling guys, Cosmere Corner. So all the Brandon Sanderson stuff of your dreams.
I need to catch up. Was it John that did the coverage of The Pit?
Yeah, John and David.
Yeah, because this is the thing. I can't watch that week by week. I've deliberately waited for the entire season to finish so I can just binge the hell out of it, because I am not waiting to see I'm not waiting an entire week to see whether that patient dies or not. So I'm just not doing that. So I need to catch up on those.
I still haven't watched The Pit, but when I do, I'm definitely going to listen to their coverage. They were first. They're like, oh, we'll just like see about checking in. No, we're doing weekly deep dives.
It is one of those shows that is every bit as good as people say it is.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I believe you, and I will get around to it. It's just there's so much. I have so much to catch up on. Yeah. Any final thoughts?
Nope. Once again, you've emptied all these silo thoughts out of my head.
Okay, so with a scoop. Sorry, that's another Vampire Lestat reference. All right. Anyway, if you're looking for me before next week, find me having a little chat with a little door in a big dark basement. Bye. I should have said, you'll find me considering Henry's latest offer to improve my life. All right.